My name is Marisa Paige Butler, and I am Miss Earth USA, and this is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. It is Adrian from the Pageant Project. My special return guest for today's proceedings is Marisa Paige Butler, who is Miss Earth USA 2021. Marisa, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on again, Adrian. I really do appreciate it. We're right in the thick of all the Miss Earth filmings. Have 2 videos left until I am completely done with the filmings. So it's been a really stressful, tiresome, but amazing opportunity to be able to travel around to different parts of my country to share that with all of you. So yeah, I'm hanging in there, getting a little tired.
You eat stress for breakfast, though, surely, let's be honest.
Yes, I definitely thrive off of this type of a scenario. I always have prided myself on staying super busy, so I'm very much used to this type of a schedule. I was looking at my calendar the other day, and I sent it. One of my friends asked if I wanted to go and get dinner with her and her new boyfriend. I'm like, I don't even know if I have a day I can do it, but I'll talk to you in November. So
You need an extra day of the week or a doppelganger, one or the other, to help you with your schedule. This is a very random thing. I was talking about eating stress for breakfast, and you sent me your bio. And for you guys watching at home, if you look at the bio beneath this interview, whether it's live or on the replay, it's insane. Just the I was thinking about this just before. It's like, it looks like you're showing off, but you're not. You're just listing everything that you've done. And then the sports, and then the goalie. And I was watching some past interviews you've done just to brush up on the insane amount of things you've done. You have a YouTube channel, and there is a video of you, like from, I assume it's you, like 10 years ago. Do you remember the soccer clips that you have there?
Yes, that was
There
actually what
is.
I used to get recruited to college for playing soccer. So that was how I got on my team at Stonehill College. Was all those clips. My dad and my mom would took the videos during all my games, mostly because my dad wasn't my coach my senior year, and the only way he could act as not a coach was to put himself behind a camera. Otherwise, he'd talk too much to the refs. So we put him behind
Yep.
camera, and that was his job for my senior year of high school. But yes, that's where those came from.
Okay. Do you remember the handball clip?
Yes.
There is this. I won't play it now. We have a lot of things to go through, and I'm sure a lot of you are going to have questions, which I will circle around to in a sec. So if you have any questions for Marisa, or you just want to send her a message of support, put them in the comments now. But there's a clip of Marisa. She defends the ball. She's playing soccer, defends the ball once, and then the opposing team crosses, and then a girl puts it in the goal, but she uses this, which unless I'm mistaken, you're not allowed to use this body part in soccer. And then you didn't look very impressed. Do you remember
No.
what you were thinking at that moment? You were
Well,
like,
to kind
arms
of give
up in the air.
context, my high school soccer team was really bad. I loved them all to pieces, great girls, but we were really a bad team, which is why I ended up playing goalie in the first place, because that's kind of where all the action was. I actually still hold the record in the state of Maine for the most saves per season in the state of Maine for women's soccer. Now, that's mostly because I got most of the shots let in on me by my defense. So it kind of is a weird statistic to have. But so for me in that game, it was actually the first time we were leading in that season. And that goal actually put us back to a tie within the last 10 seconds of the game. And so for me, I mean, this was the first time and only chance for my team to be able to win. And then they took that away from us from a very blatant handball goal. And so luckily, like I said, my dad had been filming all along, and they were able to show it after the game. Unfortunately, they did count that goal. So the official score for the game was 1-1. But I will say that we did make sure that ref wasn't able to to ref our school ever again, because it was so blatantly wrong. But yeah, that's one of those things about like sticking up for yourself and knowing like when you have been wronged, and then also knowing in the moment how far to take it. So yep, I said my piece to the ref in the moment. But at the end of the day, he is the deciding factor on that field. So you let it go and you respect it. And then I remember right after that, because like I said, there was like 10 seconds left in the game. Instead of staying in the goal, I was like, everyone just go up and run. We're going to boot it. And we're going to try to kick it in the other side. So I actually got a shot off right after that as a goalie. Unfortunately, I'm not that great of a shot, so it didn't go in. I'm better at defending than I am at actually being on offense. But, we gave it our all to try to kind of get that point back after that bad call. But yeah, that is part of playing sports. And sometimes the calls don't go in your way. But, being a long-term Patriots fan, sometimes they do. And it goes in your favor. So, it just kind of is how it all shakes out on the day.
I have to say the video was quite impressive because your dad, I assume it was your dad, edited it and was going, this is in the days before slow-mo was really easily accessible. And he's doing this frame by frame thing. And I feel sorry for the poor girl who but thankfully we can't actually identify who it was because also the video is so blurry, you can't tell. But he's like slow frame by frame, then he pauses it and then there's an arrow showing oh God. Okay. But you also mentioned that the reason that you played goalie in a lot of your sports was because you basically hate running. And then I was watching another interview where you said one of your goals for 2021 was jogging. Mm-hmm. Now, have you managed to do that? Because I hate cardio, the jogging in particular. Get me to chase a ball, I can do it forever. Get me just to run, and I go insane in about 5 minutes. So how has the jogging gone for you?
So I will say I was doing a little bit better at the jogging in the middle of the summer. The last couple months, I've kind of changed it up to be different types of cardio. So a lot of bike, a lot of rower. But the way I got to actually start jogging again was my dog Milo. So he loves to run and he loves to go on long walks. And so I was really inspired to take him out on runs with me. And it's the only time I've ever been able to run for more than 5 minutes because he's able to sit there right there with me. He's super entertaining. He just looks so happy. And I've been able to, run for a half hour at a time, which I had never, ever done before. But I will say running still isn't my thing. And I would much prefer to be on a row or on a bike for my cardio.
Have you ever gone for a run with Danielle? I mean, she's watching here. Let me just bring you up to the comments. Ralph has said, hello, Adrian and Marisa. Sean has said, Marisa is awesome. Danielle has said, my favorites. Ralph has said, hello, Danielle. To Danielle. Danielle is saying, looking fine, Marisa. And she's also said, shout out to Debbie and Walter, absolute icons. Debbie, the really tired mom, 2003. Yeah. Have you ever gone for a jog with Danielle?
I haven't actually. We've, especially since our friendship is, across oceans, it's kind of hard to link up to go for a jog together. But we did do a lot of eating cake and going out to tea. So probably the other end of the spectrum, we would kind of more do snacks and stuff together than we would do workouts. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Plus, I don't think I could keep up with her. She does long distance. Running, I don't get how she does it. Crazy, but good for her. I wouldn't be able to do it myself.
Did you see the challenge where she ran backwards?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Amazing.
The sad thing about that was, and I went out for the same length of run forwards.
And you couldn't
her time backwards. I could have if I wanted to, but the whole time I'm running, I'm just cursing the world. I don't know if this is similar to you, but it's why am I doing this? I hate this. I'm so bored. And it's again and again. As I said, I love tennis. I can play tennis and absolutely kill myself. People look at that and go, oh, how do you do that? But it's because I'm chasing a ball. It's being competitive. Mm-hmm. but the running is just like, oh, kill me now.
I think it's about being in your head. So if you have like a really good playlist, or like I said, like with me and having Milo, like an external extra person or dog, there with you, it can kind of help you from getting stuck in your head. I think us, the type of people you and I are, we probably have a lot of internal monologue in our head, is what you kind of are sounding like. And that's how I am too. And I think that might make it a little bit harder for us who don't like running to begin with and have a strong internal monologue, because then we're just reiterating in our head, oh, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. Because like you said, like our cardio is there, we could do it. It's more of a mental block, in my opinion. So that's why I've kind of brought Milo along, because he's always been able to get me out of like my mental monologues inside my head and be more present in the moment.
So what you're basically saying is a secret to becoming an excellent runner is get a dog.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, there you go. We'll take that as a top tip. Let me just cycle back to the, really tired mum has said, hello all.
Hi, Mom.
Danielle has said, I wimped out of a workout together. Oh, come on.
Danielle, really? Was in California with me before we went off on a trip together, and my boyfriend, who was put together a workout for us, and she just kind of watched and took video. She didn't partake. So I think that's what she's referring to.
No. To see, Daniel, when I see Marissa's workouts, I'm like, yes, I want to do that, because that gets me out of my head. That stops the internal monologue. Did you have a goal of being able to do a pull-up? I seem to remember watching one of yours.
So actually from my soccer times, I had a shoulder injury that has kind of kept me from being able to do pull-ups. So my trainer actually works on joint health and mobility. So I've been really working on getting the strength back into my shoulder. And one of the main goals for doing that was I've always wanted to be able to do a pull-up. I'm a very athletic person, something I really pride myself in, but I could never do even one pull-up. So I actually just recently did 2.5 chin-ups. So it's a little bit different, more grip this way versus that way.
This way.
So I'm getting closer. I can do 1 pull-up now, and then like 2.5 chin-ups. Probably could do 3 if I really had some good energy at the start of the workout. So we're getting closer to that, but I think it's so important when you're going into your workouts that you have small attainable goals along the way. Mm-hmm. It might not sound like much to some people, like 1 pull-up, but for me, that was years in the making to be able to do. But at the same time, like some things that might be easy to me, like I can do like almost like 300 pounds in a hip thrust. I know some guys that, played college basketball who also train with the same gym as me who can't do that. So, it's all about perspective on like what is actually going to be putting you forward within your goals. So yeah, that's been a small goal of mine that I'm so happy that I was able to achieve recently. And now the goal is going to be obviously to do 10. So so I'll talk to you in another 3 years, and hopefully I'll be able to do it by then.
3 years. I my best friend who I play tennis with, he also has had this sort of lifelong goal to be able to do a pull-up. Mm-hmm. So he, for some reason, he hasn't been able to do it. And he was so proud of himself. He said the first time he got his chin over the bar, because, you're pulling, you're kicking, you're struggling. And then it's like, I got my chin there. And he was so happy. Of course, I told him that I could do, 6 and he could only do 1. Did you have a bit of a celebration when you just got your chin over that bar for the first time?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think actually it's on one of my stories recently when I did the chin ups, and I was really only trying to do 1, and then I kept going. I said, I kind of feel that like I can do another 1, and I did the 2.5. And you can kind of see, like, I got excited, Milo got excited, Jamie got excited, because I think Milo just got excited because we were, but we all knew that this was a big goal for me. And so it was a fun moment, once I came back down, that we all got to share together. I'm glad that Jamie got that on camera so I can look back and look, I did it. I know I
did. Yeah. Danielle has said, Marisa is hardcore and I was on holiday. Danielle, doing a workout is fun. It's going for jog. That seems like a walk to seems like work to me. Sean has said Marisa has the best interviews, and
Sean.
Ralph has said I agree with you, Sean. Okay.
Aw.
Now, Danielle has said, there is nothing going on in my head when I run, zoned out.
See, that's exactly how she does it. She doesn't have this like in-depth internal monologue going on saying that she hates it. So I think that's our problem, Adrian. We need to just zone out when we run next. I don't know how you get to that point, but maybe she could give us some tips.
Danielle, I was just going to say, I'll take this sentence, but I'll get rid of the last 5 words. So it just says, there's nothing going on in my head. I'll just leave it at that. Sorry, Danielle. Thank you for tuning in. So I don't know if you've been, because we just had, I'm in Australia. They just had Miss Universe Great Britain. And Danielle has not only been helping with styling, she's doing the photography as well now. And she didn't get to bed last night until 3:30 in the morning. So I don't know how much sleep Danielle has had. So thank you for tuning in.
She can run on no sleep if I know that she can, because I went to one of her pageants in the UK, and I don't think we slept at all that weekend. So I know she can run and be on point on performance on very little sleep. So I think she's doing okay, but she probably got her kittens cuddled up with her watching this, I'm betting.
Oh, have you seen them? They are so ridiculous. They're so cute. They're just...
See, I think that they're really cute, but I'm so deathly allergic to cats. So in my head, I'm just thinking, Danielle, you just never want me to come visit you, do you? Stop getting cats, Danielle. They're really cute, though. They really are.
What happens if you go near a cat? It's not anaphylaxis, is it?
Actually, yeah, my throat kind of starts to close up. I have like a little bit of swelling on my chin here. It gets really itchy. And my eyes will get bloodshot. I actually, because I haven't been around cats for so long, I feel like the allergy has gotten even worse. I went to go visit one of my friends a couple months ago. I didn't realize she had just gotten 2 new kittens, and they were in a different room when I came, and I was sitting down on her carpet, and then all of a sudden I just couldn't breathe, and I was starting to choke. And thankfully it's not severe enough that I'd have to have an EpiPen or go to the hospital, but it's severe enough that it's pretty scary, when you can't breathe very well, when your throat starts to kind of close up. So usually an allergy pill does the trick for me. I just have to get out of the situation, go take a shower, take an allergy pill, and I'll be fine. But yeah, unfortunately that means I can't really spend the night anywhere that has cats. So, but I know when I've gone and visited Danielle before, unfortunately she's had to keep her cat in different rooms and really clean the area, and I've been fine. But now she has is there 3 cats going on in her house now? So I don't know if I'll be able to do the same as we used to do with her big orange cat. So we'll see. I do want to get out and visit her soon, though, as soon as traveling is a little bit safer across countries, because it's been a little bit too long. She was supposed to come to the U.S. in April, the year everything closed down. And so obviously those plans didn't go through. So I've been a little bit too long without my good friend Danielle. So really looking forward to the moment to be able to go and travel again.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're moving towards that day when the world actually can open again. You mentioned at the start of this that you've been super, super busy, obviously, with doing all the filming and everything like that. Do you want to just catch us up with how the last, dare I ask, week, 2 weeks, when it started to get manic, more so than the usual level of manic, when it really took off and went crazy? Do you want to just catch us up with what it's been like?
Well, it's kind of been a whirlwind since New York Fashion Week, which was early September. And from there, we've been doing a bunch of different filming in all different parts of the United States. I just went to Miami to do some filming there. Then also to Orlando for some more photos for my headshots. Whereas just in Charlotte for my national costume filming. I've been doing some different filmings here in San Diego. I'm going to be going up to Utah for another one of my films. And actually, I'm going to be filming this Tuesday one other video. So it's been quite a lot of traveling, quite a lot of planning, a bunch of different moving parts. But I'm really thankful I have such a great team behind me, helping me along the way. I mean, this would definitely be hard to do it the way I wanted to without this amazing team. My goal with my filming is kind of give everyone watching a taste of what it's like to be in different areas of the United States. Because, since we don't have the in-person pageant, I really want to make sure that the viewers get to see some of the places in the United States that mean a lot to me, or I think are some of the most beautiful places, especially since it's Miss Earth, and these are all in natural places. So I'm hoping that all the other contestants are doing the same, because I think it will make a really interesting Miss Earth competition, even with it being virtual, because you'll be able to have the opportunity to travel to all these amazing countries and beautiful spaces within these countries just by watching the show. So I think that it's going to kind of add a little bit of extra personality into the girls' presentation. So, we always have to look at things with glass half full. I mean, would I love to go and meet all the women in person? Absolutely. Yeah. I think you know me, and that with pageantry, my friendships that I've built have been the most important thing to me. So it's kind of sad we don't get a chance to meet in person, but I think that the audience is really going to get to know us individuals even more so in this type of format. But I did get to meet Miss Cuba when I was down in Miami. So I did at least meet one of the girls that I'm competing with, and she was absolutely sweet. And really looking forward to being able to talk with her more, hang out with her more, especially since we both have dogs that look pretty much alike. Hers is named Bear, but he's about 80 pounds, and Milo is only about like 35 pounds. So he's like over twice the size of Milo, but they're both big, fluffy dogs. So we found that we had that in common. But yeah, it's been quite a whirlwind, a lot of filming, a lot of interviews. And I don't know if I've been home that frequently, but like I said, I can rest in mid-November, be able to enjoy my Thanksgiving with my family. And until then, it's just going to be on the move. And especially if I do get the chance to win Miss Earth, that's going to be my life for the next year. And I'm so excited for that possibility. And definitely willing to put my life on hold to do this, because I know that's what it takes. But yeah, it's been very rewarding, but very tiring, especially with the 5 a.m. call times for interviews with the Philippines. But we're getting used to it and becoming a little bit more of a morning person every day.
How do you manage to structure your life? I mean, you do have a job at the same time. Contrary to popular belief, pageant queens actually can have jobs. How do you structure everything around? You're traveling everywhere to film. You have your job. You have your relationship. You have your friends, your family. You mentioned Thanksgiving, which I know you've mentioned before. When you're over in Miss World, you were having not such a great time because you missed your family. You couldn't have Thanksgiving. You also went vegetarian, so I don't know what you're going to eat at Thanksgiving. But how do you structure your life and keep on top of everything?
Well, like I said, it's something that I'm very used to doing ever since I was young. I have made sure that I have been involved with all the extracurricular activities you could possibly do. So I'm really used to operating at this high frequency when it comes to a busy schedule. So as far as my work, they've been very supportive. For those of you who don't know, I'm a wealth advisor. So I help people with their retirement planning and suggest recommendations for stock portfolios, things like that. So one of the great things about my job is something that I can do completely remote. I have been working remotely since the pandemic hit. And wonderful thing about my work is they've offered me the opportunity to continue working remote indefinitely, just because of the productivity increase that they've seen across the board within our sector by us working remote. So that gives me a lot of flexibility to travel and to still be able to work. I can take my laptop with me anywhere. So that aspect is very great, and plus they are very understanding on days that I have interviews or filming. They're very supportive of me within my pageant journey, so they've been giving me ample time to be able to pursue this dream because they know how important it is to me. And on the same token as that, that's how all my friends and my family and, my boyfriend also feel. This is something that I'm going to be able to look back on and say, I competed at Miss Earth. And not many people get to say that. And so they've all been really supportive on knowing this is going to be a crazy time in my life. I might not always be available to go hang out, like I said, my friend who wants to go to dinner. But they're no worries. You go and do this thing because it's so important to you, and we love you, and we are supporting you along the way. So I'm just really thankful for the type of people I have in my life who realize, this is temporary. It could be till November. It could be for the next year and a half. But it's a temporary situation, and they know that this means so much to me. So I've been feeling so much love and support from my family and friends. So it's been making it a lot easier to really focus on the task at hand. And then on top of it, I also lead a nonprofit. And so that we do every single Saturday morning. And as you can imagine with my travel schedule, I haven't been able to be here every single Saturday myself. So I've been so thankful for my volunteers with We Clean Trails who've really stepped up and offered to lead the cleanups while I'm away on these trips so that our work can continue to happen even when I'm not in town. So I really just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to those volunteers, especially Mark and Emily, who have been my rocks throughout this to be able to help me really pursue this dream and still be making an impact in our local community at the same time.
I did see a video of you, a short video. You had 5 things I wish I knew before. I think it was before I started my nonprofit or before you started We Clean Trails. Your first one was the luggage scale, so that you could actually weigh how much. One of the ones I thought was very interesting was that, let other people help you, so that, and you mentioned that specific example when you're competing or you're traveling, that the cleanup can still go on, so you don't have to be there. And I think that's a very important lesson to learn. You also, the weirdest thing that you guys ever picked up, you mentioned, I think it was a green bumper, a green car's whole
bumper. Like it came off the front of a car. The whole bumper was down in a creek bed, completely away from the road. There wasn't any roads nearby. So we were like, we have no idea how this got here. But then we also found an interesting one this past weekend. It was a whole spearfishing setup. So I don't know why someone would leave that there either. And it was also in like a slot canyon by Sunset Cliffs. So yeah, sometimes we find some really interesting and weird and bizarre things. But yeah, I think the absolute weirdest thing we've ever found, and it's actually really sad too. It was a note that someone had written. It's like, I want to see you and the kids. Please let me come home. I miss you. And it's like, looked like it had been like torn apart and thrown on. So like someone definitely was not wanting that person to come home. And I felt really sad, like reading that. I was like, oh, I know this like note wasn't meant for me or like my volunteers to find. This was like for someone like to convey a really important message. So that one was really sad, but it definitely is stuck in my head as one of the random things that we have found on our cleanups.
Do you want to just give the people viewing an idea as to how much you've picked up? Because this has not been a short-term thing. You've done a lot. So what's the total at the moment?
So like I said, we didn't have the luggage weight at the very beginning, but I've been able to go back and get the average, and taking out our big cleanups, we would get over 1,000 and get an average estimate. And it looks like it's approximately at 10,000 pounds as of today. So that's since June of 2020. And a lot of that comes from, like I said, we have our Rose Canyon cleanup that we do every other month, where we get between 400 and 1,000 pounds within 90 minutes. This past weekend at Sunset Cliffs, we got an additional 400 pounds. So, it continuously is going up and up in the waste that we have removed from San Diego. And whether it's, 23 pounds or 1,020 pounds, like I'm so proud of my group, because every single little bit counts. It's not just the big, bulky, heavy items that are making a difference, but those microplastics and those small little like confettis and things like that animals can ingest. those are important too. So while the weight's really impressive, I try to always tell people not to focus so much on the weight, but the fact that we are making these places a clean and safe place for not just other humans, but for animals as well. So the end weight's not really the biggest factor in my head, but it's more about the amount of weeks, amount of volunteers that have come through to help us in this goal to be able to limit the litter problem within San Diego.
Danielle here, I'll just bring you up to date with the comments. She said, I'll have them stay at the Kitty Hotel for when you're over. They don't shed much either. So there you go.
Perfect.
Sean has said, good luck, Marisa. She's the best. And Ralph has said, you got this, Marisa, with a four-leaf clover at the end.
I think Sean has gone on to every single one of my interviews. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to Sean. He's been following me along for years and has always been so supportive. So thank you as always for tuning in and showing your support.
He's also said Marisa has a great charity, which is amazing. Danielle has said, I can't wait to come to San Diego in April and help with Weekling Trails.
Yay! I can't wait to see you either. It's been too long. Hopefully they don't push it back again. She was supposed to come for Coachella, like I said, back in 2019. And as you can imagine, this keeps getting pushed back for good reason. But yes, it's been pushed back quite a number of times.
Yes, let's not mention the C word. Can you please, or get Jamie to organize a workout? I want to see Danielle doing some sort of workout that's not just running around. Then she can know. Then she can know how it feels. There you go, Danielle. Danielle will suddenly go, oh, actually, I'm busy. I can't go overseas. Now, we're going to show your secondary talent, which I had a brief look at. It's insane in the best way because it's just, well, I'll let other people make up their own minds. Just before I show that, can I just ask you, does it ever get you mad when you're doing the cleanups that people litter like that? Because I'm not the sort of person who ever has gone out and then just thrown a can or a plastic bag somewhere. Like, I wasn't brought up like that. I really believe that littering is like a crime. It's a low-level crime, but why would you do that? Does it ever just make you mad, the amount that you guys have picked up? Because when I see the total, that's like, wow, it's amazing. On the second hand, that's like 100,000 or whatever it was, 10,000 pounds of rubbish that people have just sort of thrown.
Mm-hmm. I think that it really, most of the trash that I'm finding, I do believe that a good portion of it is not necessarily done in malice. It might be like, we find a lot of things that are easily dropped items, like corners of wrapping papers, things that might have blown away from your hands. So I like to think that the majority of them, that's why. But obviously in the areas where we're getting, over, 400 pounds worth of trash, most of the time those are in abandoned encampment sites. And so what that really says to me is that homelessness is not just a humanitarian issue, it's also an environmental issue. And that's why it's so important for us to be pressuring our politicians to provide housing solutions, and also help with getting them on their feet for people who find themselves home insecure. So that for me, it comes from a place of empathy. I realize that these people are in a very bad situation. No one chooses to be homeless of their own accord. And then, that's just one of the byproducts, unfortunately, of that type of lifestyle, is it does create a lot of litter within those natural areas. So for me, I'm more upset at my politicians for not handling the homelessness crisis within San Diego, because I think that if we did address that, that would cut off a huge percentage of the large impact litter sites within our county. So yes, it is kind of frustrating, but at the same time, it's also really uplifting seeing how many volunteers come out every single weekend, especially the little kids who go and they treat it like an Easter egg hunt. You would think that, I don't know if I would have been as interested in picking up trash with my parents on a weekend morning as a kid, but these kids are super excited about it. And they come back, you know, after a few weeks and like, oh, I told my friends about what we did. We did a cleanup in our neighborhood. I did a project about this at school. And so it gets me really excited because it's showing that there's a huge community of people who really care and are taking time out of the weekend every single weekend to help with this problem. So, you know, it, like you said, there is some beautiful parts to it. There's also some frustrating parts to it. But at the end of the day, I try to focus on the positives and what we can control, and that's our actions.
Yeah, well said. I think that's a very good way of looking at it. Linnell here has said, hi, Marisa. All right, Linnell, you've tuned in at a good time. I'm just about to show Marissa's secondary talent. Shall we just go into it, Marisa, or do you want to give us a bit of a backstory behind it?
So since it's a different language, I'll kind of give you an idea of what it's about. So this is an ode to Velia. So Velia is a wood maiden fair, so like a woodland fairy that is, she meets and falls in love with this hunter. And so this is the hunter's lament and telling her how much he loves her and Mother Earth after their encounter and she has disappeared. So this is a lovesick young man trying to serenade the love of his life that he just met and has changed his entire world. So that's kind of the little background story. So, and this was also picked by my sister.
Okay, we'll go into it. Here we go. Well, Marisa, that was that's a B that you hit, if I'm not mistaken, at the end.
Yes, correct.
That
Good
is
ear.
insane. I have perfect pitch. I have a musical background. That's amazing. Okay, so I don't even know where to begin with it. I mean, even the film looks, the movie looks amazing. Can I just ask, as someone who has a relatively low-pitched voice, and I've always loved singing, but I'm not going to say I'm any good at it, my first question is, how do you get that range and with such control? You're not screaming it, which in some ways would be easier, but you've just sort of floated up to it. And I remember last time you saying your singing style it's kind of like that. Was it musical laughter, I think you called it. But how do you get to that?
So with my voice type, opera has always been the thing that really resonates most within my vocal type. I do believe there is part of it that is really something you're born with what it means as far as your vocal type is. My range that I'm the best at is that high coloratura, lyric, soprano ranges, which is what you were just hearing with that song. But that being said, there's also a lot of training that goes into being able to sing classically. So I've been training with different singing teachers since I was 13 years old. And now I did not start off being able to sing that well, even though that's where my voice wants to be. There is so much control you have to learn as far as mouth position, being able to breathe and have proper support, and also being able to learn how to sing in different languages, since most, opera pieces are done in different languages. My favorite is usually Italian, and then also German, like you just heard here. So this was a German piece, even though Velia is a French story. So it kind of brings a bunch of different cultures and together, which I think is really beautiful. But yeah, it took me, I don't know, I think it took like at least 3 months with my first singing teacher for like a note to even really come out, because I was so shy.
Wow.
That was really what singing really gave me, was confidence, because I really was a really shy, soft-spoken young girl growing up. And I do pageantry, but I think specifically through the talent portion, being able to put yourself out there and be vulnerable is a really big ask for any young person to do. So I think that by being able to learn how to sing in front of other people, I really found my voice in other ways in my life, to be able to stand up and be confident, to be able to speak and have interviews such as this and be sure of who I am, because there's not anything, in my opinion, more intimidating than getting up and performing in singing pieces. Like I said, it wasn't something that naturally came to me. But I was also very fortunate that I had a wonderful, wonderful role model in my older sister, Alana, who is a phenomenal opera singer. She's been able to help me with tips and tricks along the way, and then also be able to help me pick songs that really does highlight my vocal type and range. So as I said, this song, the Velia song, was actually recommended to me by my sister Alana, and it's one of her favorite songs. But of course, my other talent that I did submit to Miss Earth was a different song, and it was my mother's favorite. So as you can imagine, there was a little bit of a background argument on whose favorite song gets to be submitted to Miss Earth. But at the end of the day, Mom won out, as she should. She's the one who paid for all the singing lessons for years, and the one who convinced me to get singing lessons in the first place. So I'm really excited. I can't share with you what song it will be, but it's a very classical aria piece that most of you probably know and love. So I'm really excited to be showcasing that. I believe it's on October 26th is when the singing component of the talent competition for Miss Earth will air. But yeah, it's been a long road, and I kind of have two vocal types, like you said. It's this coloratura and then Disney. So I sing Disney or I sing opera, and I really have a hard time singing along with the radio. It's a bit too low for my vocal type. So I kind of stick with the high, floaty pieces like this, or a Disney song, like a Disney princess.
Your older sister that helped you, is she the same one who put you in a box and threw you off the balcony when you were little? So things have gone better since then.
She was the ringleader in that. She was the oldest one, the one who knew the best. But to be fair, I was a horrible child. I was so mean to them. I would pull their hair and pinch them, and just always blame them for anything that I did wrong with all my mischief. So it wasn't until I kind of calmed out when I got into sports that they began to actually like me. So sports saved my friendship and relationship with my sisters. So if you have any crazy kids out there, enroll them in sports. Hopefully they'll do better.
That's a good tip. Let me just go over back to the comments. Vanessa is a legend. Oh, is this your older sister?
So Alana and Vanessa and Natasha, but Alana and Vanessa were the ones who put me in the box. Natasha was always, the one who, Usually I got along with better when I was younger. She was the oldest. But Alana and Vanessa, they picked on me a lot when I was little, but it was rightfully so. Like I said, I was a little terror. When I was under 5 years old, I wouldn't have wanted to deal with me either as an older sister. So
I remember when you came on the podcast, you did say that you caused your babysitter to change majors, right? But no, she didn't want to work with kids after working with you.
Well, that's why, like I said, I'm so used to operating at the high frequency and staying super busy because I feel like I had too much energy when I was a little kid. And so that came out in a very negative way. I was very boisterous, very disruptive. I would always be running around crazy. My mom said the second I learned to walk at 9 months, I was running. And I couldn't imagine dealing with a little baby who was crazy running around at 9 months and jumping off of things, but that was who I was. And so once they got me into sports and got me a structure within my life, somewhere for me to get out my energy, that's when I really settled down into the person I am today, someone who's much more calm, cool, and collected than my childhood self. But that's also why I thrive so much on being involved in a multitude of different things within my life, because I do still feel restless when I'm not doing enough. And so even though my calendar always looks super full and crazy, that's really what makes me thrive and how I perform best in my life. Like you said, eating stress for breakfast, that is what keeps my crazy away. I have to be more active and out there and really involved in my community for me to not feel restless.
I feel if you didn't keep yourself busy, that 5-year-old version of Marisa might come out again. Not that we want it to come out, but I have to ask, I have a very hard time seeing you as being shy, given the woman who's in front of me today. How bad was your shyness? And I'm asking this as someone who was also very shy in school. I went an entire year in one school year not saying anything to the teacher because I just didn't want to. Shy. How shy were you?
Well, I'd say it kind of came in and out in phases. Like I said, when I was really young, I was very boisterous and outgoing and crazy. But then there was a period, probably from about 7 through high school, where I was very quiet and reserved and really in my own head and kept to myself. Through that whole experience, like I said, I didn't really. I don't have any real good close friends from that time period in my life, except for maybe one or two, because I really kept to myself. It was something where there was a lot of stress going on within my family life during that time. And I think that the way I coped with it was really turning inward and kind of shutting off to outside stimuli. So it really was focusing on my school, was focusing on my sports and focusing on singing. And then once I started pageantry, I feel like that kind of gave me a chance to get used to speaking in front of people again, feeling like I got that confidence back that I kind of let go for a number of years. So it really helped me bring back it wasn't that it created a new person. It helped unearth the person I was before.
Yes.
And really helped bring back that confidence and that carefree attitude and excitement. So that is really what I attribute to my time in pageantry. It kind of took me from a soft-spoken, quiet, reserved young girl into a confident young woman who is going to have a conversation with anyone, no matter what, and feel perfectly comfortable and happy with doing so. And so I think that's a huge gift that pageantry has given me throughout the years. Being able to be confident in who you are, I think, is the most important thing that you can offer to this world, because when you know how to use your voice, you know how to make a change within your world. If you don't use that voice, no matter what, you're not going to make any type of long systematic changes. Yep. So by having that confidence and ability in yourself, that is what has given me the opportunity to be a nonprofit leader, to be a national title holder, and to be vying for this international crown. So it really is, I think, the biggest gift pageantry has ever given me is my voice back and my confidence in myself.
Well, you found your voice, and it's a hell of a voice as well. So I think we're all glad that you found your voice. Ralph here said it was a pleasure hanging out with you both. I have to go. See you in January, Marissa. Have a blessed day and a wonderful and blessed afternoon, Marissa.
Thank you,
January
Ralph.
being
The
when
national
you will hand
competitions.
over, yeah,
Yes.
to your successor. This pageant journey of yours is, whichever way it goes, it's winding towards its inevitable conclusion. Any feelings about that, or you've been too busy to have even think about that?
You know, I will say it's a little bit of both. I have been very busy and focused on what is in front of me, which is Miss Earth. And I want to give that my utmost attention and devotion because, like you said, this is my last pageant. But I also picked Miss Earth by design to be my last pageant because I truly believe that it encompasses who I am as a person the most out of any pageant system I've ever been a part of. So I'm really excited that this is where I'm ending my pageant journey as a contestant. Now, I say as a contestant because I have no plans on this being my last hurrah within pageantry. I'm hoping to take on a directorship role in the future. I do want to be able to share what I have learned through my 10 years in pageantry with others and help them make, long systematic changes within their communities. So hopefully I'll be able to be back as a director either next year or the year after, depending on how everything goes for the international pageant at Miss Earth. But yeah, I think that there's other things though I am looking forward to the next phases of my life. I really am excited to be focusing a little bit more with my career. My job is actually helping me with putting together ESG portfolios for clients, and which is environmental social governance. So I can still carry on my love for the environment, right into my work and becoming our in-house ESG expert and doing different podcasts and things like that within my work space. So I'm excited to kind of branch out into that, to step into the directorship role. And then also to move forward in my personal life as well. There's a lot of amazing things on the horizon that I have been put on hold for a long time for me to be able to accomplish these goals. So now that it's getting kind of closer to the end, I'm excited for those things to kind of come to fruition. But like I said, the goal here is to win Miss Earth and to keep at this for another year before I'm able to hang up my sparkly hat for good. So we'll see. I know it's a lot to go in for a back-to-back win, but it's not impossible in the Miss Earth system as we have seen before in the past. But that being said, we're competing against a multitude of amazing young women who are doing great things within their communities as well. So I'm just very honored to even just be on the same playing field and within the same competition as all these other amazing women. So no matter what happens, I'm very pleased with what I have put out to the world and has shown with my advocacy and with all the videos we've been putting together for my competition clips and my interviews. I'm very proud of the women that pageantry, especially the Miss Earth system, has forged me into being. And I know I'll be carrying that with me through all the other phases of my life going forward.
Marissa, just before we go towards the final 10 questions, anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
Of course. So I wouldn't be able to do this without all of the love and support from all the fans across the world. I have never felt more of an outpouring of love than competing within this pageantry. So I wanted to say thank you to all the fans. I know a lot of you were here today watching this video. Did want to say thank you to Linnell, who I contacted in the Philippines, who's been helping me a lot with securing a lot of interviews for me, both within the Philippines and internationally. I want to thank my directorship team at Miss Earth USA. They are the best directorship team I have ever worked with. All such strong, amazing women who've been title holders themselves. So they really know what it's like to be in our shoes and to provide an amazing experience for their title holders. And for that, I just wanted to say thank you for having that be my last experience within pageantry and making it so positive and beautiful. And then also thank you for Danielle, who of course has been the glue to hold everything together, one of my dearest friends, and is the reason why I'm able to have my relationship and interview with you today as well. And thank you as well for having me on the show again. I'm happy to be back and chatting with you a second time. And hopefully we'll be talking a third time after November.
Absolutely. Danielle did say, she was talking to me and she goes, oh, they should just crown Marisa now, because what are they going to do? Crown someone else and then have to ship the crown overseas? She's just like, Lindsay's right there. She's able to put it on Marissa's head. I'm like, Danielle, that's not probably one of the judging
that's not the
criteria.
biggest determining factor, but I see where she's going with that.
Yeah, that was her rationale. It's like, they can actually have it in person. It's like, Danielle, calm down. She gets quite agitated at times, but yeah, we love Danielle. All right, final 10 questions. In all honesty, I can't remember what you answered last time, so we'll just go into it with fresh eyes and fresh ears. Number 1, what is your favorite word?
My favorite word, determined. This can be shown with my pageant career for the last 10 years.
Number 2, what is your least favorite word?
My least favorite word, I think we said this last time, but it's yes when it's too soon. Because I personally have had my most growth and success in my life in times when people have told me no. And because that really made me go back to the drawing board and reinvent myself and come back even stronger, which is why it's taken me 10 years to get to this point where I am and to be the person I am. So yes, when it is not in the right time for you within your entire path.
Question 3. In life, what gets you excited or what turns you on?
I think the thing that makes me most excited is my dog, Milo. I think that anyone who knows me knows that to be true. I am a dog mom through and through. And my favorite thing to do with him every single weekend is going Sunday mornings to the dog beach, which is where we were this morning, because there's no place in this entire world that he loves more. And that just completely fills my heart with joy.
Do you talk to Milo?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
He actually understands quite a lot of words. He's very smart. Okay. And if you don't laugh at me, go watch What About Bunny. Have you heard about What About Bunny? She's another poodle dog who talks with buttons. So don't tell me my dog doesn't know words. I know he knows words.
I didn't say anything. Do you have a weird voice that you speak to them in, or do you just speak in your normal voice?
I think it's just a little higher pitched, but it's my voice. But it's definitely higher pitched to get their attention.
Okay. Question 4 then. So that was what turns you on. What turns you off?
Turns me off. People littering. I think that's an easy one.
Yeah, well, that makes complete sense. Okay, question 5. What sound or noise do you love?
My sound. I'd say probably, I know you always make fun of me for this, but I love the sound of thunder and lightning storms, even being struck by lightning in the past. But I don't get to hear it very much now that I live in San Diego and it's always sunny. And so whenever we do have thunder, lightning, or rainstorms, I still open my window. Probably not the best move knowing what happened last time I did that, but I still open my window and listen to the thunder and lightning storm. And I probably will do that till the day I die. What's the odds of lightning striking me twice? So,
That is such a dangerous question to ask. That is just like tempting
I'm not
fate.
walking around with a metal pole in the middle of a field or anything. I'm just opening my window. It's a freak accident the first time, okay? I don't think it's going to happen again. Especially
I don't know
in San
how
Diego,
freak
it rains
accident
4 times a year.
when it's lightning and you open the window with giant metal earrings on. It's like, okay, it's not a metal pole, but I mean, come on, it wasn't exactly freak accident. If you hadn't opened the window and you just sat there minding your own business, you wouldn't have been hit.
Like I said, I was doing everything your mom tells you not to do during a thunderstorm.
I still find it slightly creepy that your television worked after that. and
Yeah.
then it stopped working and never worked again. That freaks me out. That's like Ghost in the Machine kind
For
of
me,
stuff.
that was the most interesting part of it. You know, I know that's the weirdest thing to say, but that the most interesting part to me, the whole thing, was that TV being unplugged, still being able to change the channel and volume, and had no
That's
electricity
crazy.
connected to it. So that, I know, it's a weird thing, but the rest of it I was unconscious for. So give me a break.
And you kept your hospital bracelet so that you could prove to people that you had been. By the way, that place where you keep that thing, you said you had a chest. That chest, like, how big is it by now? I mean, after everything that's happened, I could imagine that where you're keeping everything is just bigger.
Well, it started with a chest, and now there's like a whole room at my mom's house that is full of like memorabilia and things like that. So yeah, it started with the chest. Even the chest was pretty big. And when I was back home last, I was actually going through some old school paperwork, and we found the doctor's note that was excusing me from school that day. Then it was like, why was she out of absent? Marisa was struck by lightning. She was in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. Like, and so I was like, now I have another thing that says it. My mom found it. She's like, you have to see this. You have to see it. I finally found it. So now I have not only the hospital bracelet, but also my, from my school records that we had obtained from my school after a certain number of years, you were able to get them back. In there was the note, lo and behold.
Dear me. All right, just stay away from the weather. Okay, that's what I'm going to say. Question
that's why
6.
I live in San Diego, so it rains like 4 times a year here. So I think I'm good.
All right. What sound or noise do you hate?
Probably just the classic, you know, the scratching of the whiteboards, any type of like white noise. I don't like when people try to fall asleep with like the white noise or sound machines. Those things really bother me too. I need silence. And then I think one other one is there's this car outside of my apartment complex that always has this alarm going off, and it happens like every 3 nights. It's like the alarm system continuously goes off, and that wakes me up pretty frequently. So I probably hate that sound more than anything within my apartment.
Fair enough. All right, question 7. If you could pick any one superpower, what would you pick and why?
You know, I think it would probably be to fly. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to fly? Especially since my family lives on the other side of the country and a lot of my friends live all over the world. To be able to fly and be there quickly would be amazing. Plus, it's just, I mean, who doesn't want to fly up in the clouds? I think that would be really cool.
Question 8. What job or occupation other than your own would you most like to attempt?
So this is actually one thing I was talking with another organization with recently. So as a nonprofit leader, I would love to actually work more within the nonprofit sector for my day job, you know, instead of something on the side.
Right.
So eventually I would like to kind of step into a role within a different nonprofit organization. I just was talking with Clean Trails and the National Cleanup Organization about, you know, their process and how they kind of came to fruition. They were helping me along the way with my We Clean Trails organization. So eventually I'd like to maybe work for a larger nonprofit and really dive into that space, because I'm my most happy when I'm working with my cleanups and my volunteers and really doing good for the community. So that's definitely something that I could see myself going and falling into. But other than that, I would have loved to have been a teacher. I didn't love the salary very much in the States. Unfortunately, we don't pay our educators enough to really have a good living without having to have a second job in the States in many parts. So if it wasn't for the money, I would have loved to have been like a high school history teacher. Would have been my ultimate dream when I was little.
Question 9. What job would you definitely not like to attempt?
You know, I get asked all the time why I don't do modeling full time, why I haven't moved to like LA or New York. And first of all, I don't really like LA or New York. And then second of all, I like having the structure. I don't necessarily know if I'd want to be working in a job where I'm not sure where my next paycheck is coming from. I know that for some people that really lights a fire in them and motivates them to work very hard. But I just know for me, I would just be constantly with anxiety, especially since there's so many other moving parts and other aspects of my life. I like my job to be something consistent and stable. So I probably wouldn't want to be a model full time or an actress full time for those very reasons.
Final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That dogs go to heaven. I think I said this last time too, but that's always the answer for me. I've told you time and time again, I am the biggest fan of dogs. They're my favorite animal. I have more dog friends, I think, than I have people friends. I always was saying, I always talk to dogs when they come by. People are walking by with Milo, and I was like, oh, hi, talking to the dog, completely ignore the person. And then my boyfriend's like, someday you should probably say hello to the owner and strike up a conversation with them. Like,
yeah.
What do you mean? I didn't see anyone. I just saw a dog. So I'm very singular focused on dogs, and I love them. So hopefully dogs go to heaven.
So you're one of those crazy dog people that just runs up and has to have a massive conversation with my dog and just understand it. Okay.
Yes,
I see how this works. All right. Well, Marisa, let's leave it there for now. Thanks so much for coming on.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Anytime, and best of luck with everything. I mean, one way or another, this is going to be over soon or not. So for people to follow you, obviously it's at Marisa Paige Butler, which you can see there, also at Miss Earth USA. And thanks everyone for watching. Marisa, I'll keep you on the line for just a sec whilst I hang up with the audience. But we will speak to you again next time. Bye for now.
Hi.
Thanks for watching. Pageant Sorority Access opens up on Monday, the 1st of November. To get early access, head to thepageantsorority.com and enter your email address. Hope to see you there, and see you next time.